And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy, Cheap Ludes. It is time to rank all of the small forwards in NBA 2K22 My Team and sort them in various tiers. It's the tier list series, episode 3. You know what's going on at this point. But if you don't, let me explain. I rank between next gen and current gen. I try my best to rank them equally for both gens. So that's why you will see cards fluctuate and be different from other people's tier lists specifically. In addition to that, I try to factor in multiple play styles, from three-point hunting to rim running, paint mashing, etc. I also rank them within each tier as well. So the number one card in B tier is not as good as the last card in B tier. These are things that I feel the need to bring up before I start ranking cards because people start to get real irrational when tier lists are concerned. So at the end of this video, stick around for that, because I do have a couple of things that I would like to discuss in regards to a like goal for a special reward, special video, 2 special videos. So, if you can get this video, like, I don't know, dude, get 150 likes, I don't know, something, whatever. I'll do something special. So, S tier, unquestionable best cards in the game. I feel like the small forward tier is very well balanced, and I will show that and support that theory as the video goes on. A tier, just a shade under S tier. Maybe they aren't quite as good at one gen or one play style, or they have like one tiny little flaw that kind of kicks them out of S tier. I will explain it once we go. B tier, this is what majority of the community is going to be using. You're going to see some expensive cards in here, some cards that are a little past their prime, past their glory, but all still very usable. C tier, a lot of outdated cards that were once B and A tier are going to be in here. D tier is where you're going to see a lot of the outdated cards. These are going to be outdated guys who weren't even really, A tier at any point since maybe like December. You know what I mean? A lot of outdated cards are going to be here. Really, the way that I look at C tier and D tier, C tier, if a card is, has a couple issues, like maybe it has a slower jump shot, or there's just like 1 or 2 things it doesn't do well, then I'll put it in C tier. D tier, if it does 1 or 2 things pretty well, still manageable or still usable in some capacity, I will put it in D tier. F tier, they do 1 or 2 things really well, and that's about it. Trash tier, it's trash tier. You know what's going on. We'll start with level up Paul George. I think that's a good barometer for how this list is going to go. C tier. Not having badge additions is definitely hurtful to this card. Paul George is still really, really good in this game. This card's just a little outdated, so C tier. Albert King, B. I had someone get upset last time because I put Albert King in B tier. I thought that was appropriate, and I find that even more appropriate this time. I would keep him in B tier. Glenn Rice. Pink Diamond Glenn Rice, I would say, is C tier. I think he's better than Paul George based solely on the fact that he's newer and you can add badges to him. Standard, I would say Paul George is still better, so I'll probably rank him a little bit higher. He's a little more meta for both next gen and current gen. Lamar Odom. Ooh. I'm tempted to put Lamar Odom in A tier because I think he's actually that good. So I'm going to keep him here for now. There's really nothing this card doesn't do. Great size, moves really well, elite level jump shot. I mean, this card is next level, like just fantastic. Alex English, for next gen exclusively, I would say he's A tier. But because he's essentially, it's not like he's not usable on current gen, but he can't shoot from the corners, which is really annoying. So I would say B tier for that reason. When it comes to ranking Albert King, I think Albert King is a little bit better personally, but if you're on next gen, I think Alex English is superior. This Alex English is F. He's just super outdated. John Havlicek is D tier. As much as I like Hondo, he's just outdated. I wouldn't even say his Pink Diamond is good enough to be in B tier, Larry Bird. Larry Bird's tough to rank because I'm a little bit higher on this card than I think a lot of other people are, for sure. So I personally think I would put him in A tier. I really like his jump shot this year, in addition to he's obviously really, really solid in regards to movement, and he's fast. Big player build as well. Yeah, I mean, I might move him down. I might move him and Lamar Odom down. It depends. Allen Houston, he can only shoot, and at this point, a vast majority of the cards on this list can do that, so I'd put him in F tier. LeBron, he's still good enough to be D tier. This card came out a really long time ago. Honestly, when it comes to certain cards still being in D tier after, coming out in November, that should tell you how good they were once upon a time. Andre Iguodala, this card's still semi-decent, but you're not going to run into anyone running him. But I'd put him like mid to low C tier. Andre Karolinko, A tier, for sure. One of the best defensive cards in the game. He can move really well. Solid jump shot. Granted, base 98's not quite as overpowered as it has been in the past. It's still really decently solid. Good player build. It's AK, dude. Like, what do you want me to say? Andrew Wiggins, B. Wiggins is really good. You're going to get somebody who's going to tell you he's A tier. And in two certain players, yeah, for sure. He's an excellent budget option. But I would say B tier is appropriate. This Andrew Wiggins is outdated, but he's like the top of the class at D tier. Bailey Howell, outdated, but low C. Bernard King. I like Bernard King. He's just like super outdated. I hope we get a new Bernard King soon, because this card did not really get the props that it deserved at the time. But I think a lot of that comes from probably Gerald Wallace, honestly, is like half the reason nobody gave this card its flowers. Brandon Ingram, D. Yeah, Brandon Ingram's D. It's not very good. Brent Barry, F. This card's not entirely good. He plays absolutely no defense. He can shoot and dunk, though. He can do a couple things well that warrants D tier. LeBron Braun. He's A. He's not quite S. I don't think this card's been S since it came out. Maybe initially it was up here, but yeah, I don't think so. Bruce Bowen. Great 3 and D card. I would put him towards the top of D tier. Bruce Brown. He's like 6'4", I think, or 6'5". If he was like 2 inches taller, he'd probably be B tier because the card itself is really solid, but I would put him lower in C tier. Brian Russell. I'm going to put him here because he is just a 3 and D card at heart, but he is a Sapphire, and he's a very usable Sapphire at that. Granted, he's a little bit slow and sluggish. His jump shot is as well, but he still has enough uses that I would put him in D. Mellow. This card was S tier once upon a time, and still D tier. This card was very good. If you go and try to load up Next Gen and run Mellow, like, he's going to get abused, surely, but you can still get buckets against the CPU. Richard Jefferson, S. Richard Jefferson might legitimately be the best card in this game. Like, yes, even better than Invincible Shaq and Invincible Scottie Pippen. Like, Richard Jefferson may legitimately be the best card in this game, which is crazy. If you would have told me that at some point this year Richard Jefferson was going to be the best card in the game, I would have laughed at you. That's just 2K this year, man. Caron Butler. Coronic's like top D tier, but D tier. This Caron Butler's the same card, basically. So, Cazzie Russell. Cazzie's really good. He's just, short. That's it. He's still decent at the 2 guard, though. Like, you can still get buckets with Cazzie, but there's really no point to use this one since the other Cazzie is better and is like, 15,000 MT. Cedric Maxwell. He's still S tier, though. He is. He's dominant on both gens. He can move. Obviously, he's got a great jump shot, huge player build. Like, he's still S tier. Bobby Jones. I want to put Bobby Jones in C tier. We really need a new Bobby Jones. Like, a glitch Bobby Jones would be fantastic. Even if he's like a diamond still again, or a pink diamond, as long as he can shoot a little bit and play, he already plays competent defense. Like, this card is a great defensive card. You just can't do anything else. Luke Walton. Shout out to Luke Walton, dude. D tier. Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's still B tier. I would throw him like right in between Albert King and Alex English. Kawhi. Kawhi, I think, is C tier. And hear me out. The reason for Kawhi being C tier is I think I would put this one in C tier as well. Like, it doesn't really matter. They're basically the same. You can make a case that they're B tier, but I'm already going to have a Kawhi in B tier, and it's not that one. You know what I mean? Jarvis Hayes. I still love Jarvis Hayes. I really like this card. I can't say objectively he's better than Bruce Bowen, though. Kevin Durant. He's probably the best card in D tier. Corliss Williamson, dude. F tier. Shout out to Corliss Williamson. No hate. Kenny Walker, I actually really like this card, and I don't know. I'm not going to apologize for that. This card blocks a lot of shots. He's got a huge player build, relatively easy to time jump shot, and he moves really well. I don't think there's anything wrong with this card, and putting him low C tier I don't think is incorrect. Kawahi, he came out literally, the first couple weeks of the game, like September, I believe. So, yeah, I would throw him, by Bobby Jones area. Kelly Tripucka. Shout out to my boy, Kelly Tripucka. That's 3 cards that we've already had that we need new versions of. Bobby Jones, Brian Russell, Kelly Tripucka. Am I wrong? No.
All right, Chris Mullin. I mean, this card had a grip, dude. Like, this was a top tier shooting guard. This is when we really should have known that 2K was going to do a really good job of making guys who aren't traditionally good in 2K, which Chris Mullin's never bad in 2K, but he's not traditionally like a god tier player. You know what I mean? And he was for a little bit in season 2. Like, we should have known. He's outdated for sure, but I'd put him by Melo. He was good. Cincinnatus Powell. I think he's low B tier. This card is still usable. I mean, any person that attained this card probably has better options, and most certainly has better options, because obviously they're good enough at the game to get Powell. They can get better cards, you know what I mean? But he's still decent. It's like, I always hate ranking unlimited rewards, because it's like, if you've gotten the unlimited reward, you don't need somebody to rank cards for you. You're fine. You know what I mean? It's like every single time that I see like not even just the rank the squads, the send teams thing, that kind of makes sense. You're just sending your team, you just wanting to stunt, but it's like, you know, under the NBA 2K post, they'll be like, who's ready for Friday? And somebody will be like, yo, can someone rate my team? And they'll have like every reward card. And I'm just like, who are you trying to show off for right now, dude? Like, I don't know. Do you think people are going to see this and they're going to get rock hard? Like, and be like, damn, dude, this guy's cool. Like, or do you literally like want tips? I don't get it. Corey Kispert, honestly, I do believe he's a D tier. I don't like this card. Well, he's like low C tier. Dale Ellis, I mean, he's just outdated. He's F for sure. No, he's not. You know what? I'll put him by Carmelo and Chris Mullin. Sadiq Bey, yeah, D. Billy Owens. Billy Owens, I would say, badged up is higher B tier. Standard, I would say, is like right here. Huge player build, great jump shot. This card is fantastic. Jalen Rose, F. He's not quite trash tier, I don't think. I'll keep him here for now. I might move him down. Anthony Edwards, C. He's C tier, for sure. I would put him by, I can't say he's much better than Kawhi, Cassie Russell, Paul George. I think he is, personally, just due to the fact that he came out so much later than those guys. I'll put him by here. Kawhi's still Kawhi. Gallinari. You can make a case that he's B tier. I just think he's C tier, personally. OG Anunoby. I just think this card is another one of those really slept on guys that was super good at the beginning of the year. He's just so expensive. Dale Ellis. This Dale Ellis is D tier. I like this one because he lowers your overall a little bit, so I prefer that one over the pink diamond one. But, you know, there's not a whole lot of differences between the two. Danilo is not great. I would throw him like, you know what, let me put Havlicek in front of those guys. Yeah. Let's throw Danilo over by, yeah, that's good. ML Carr right next to Bobby Jones. D tier. This card was once again really, really good when he came out. Kevin Durant. This KD, I think, is still up here in C tier. That's what's crazy about it. I do. Like, I wouldn't even argue if you put him towards the top of C tier. This card can still get buckets for sure. LeBronathan. He's a Ruby LeBron. He's still just not the greatest. Yeah, I'll put him in D tier, I think. Vince Carter. Vince is still A tier. He is still like a very, very good shooting guard. People don't really talk about this card anymore, but this card is still really good. It's weird that people don't talk about him. I think, once again, it's because the people who have this card, you know, typically take this game very seriously, and they've kind of moved on to bigger and better shooting guards. You know what I mean? Chances are they're probably running Richard Jefferson and Cedric Maxwell at this point. So it's like there's no reason to talk about how good this Vince is, but he's still very good. So if you're still running Vince, there's no shame in that. Like, it's not like you're running an outdated or a terrible card. The card is still an A tier shooting guard. It's just that most people have the S tier versions. You know what I mean? Danny Granger. This card was a day one card, and really he was so expensive and so hard to get at the beginning, not many people had him. This Danny Granger, I would say, is C tier. I mean, if you have him, cool. I mean, you're probably not using him. This is going to be a stretch, but I actually really like this Darius Miles card, and I would put him by like Kenny Walker. I really like this card. Mikal Bridges. I like this card enough to still put this card in C tier. DeAndre Hunter, yeah, no. DeAndre Hunter is an overpowered Sapphire. He is a straight up god tier Sapphire. No question about it. Like, this card is fantastic. I forget this card even exists half the time, but he's so good. DeMar, he's good enough offensively that I'd throw him low C tier. Denny, because he can play point guard, is A tier. He isn't objectively an A tier point guard like he is. Some people put him S tier. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. So here's how I would rank it. I would put Karolinko, LeBron, Denny because he can play point guard, Vince Carter, and then Lamar and Larry. So Larry might get dropped down because I think Larry is the worst card in A tier personally. But Denny deserves to be here. He requires some shooting badges. I personally like his jump shot. I know other people don't like him, but he looks like he's 7 foot tall and plays point guard relatively well. Brandon Ingram. Big fan of Brandon Ingram, but objectively he's C tier. He does look like he smokes mids or smoked mids at some point for sure, which I appreciate. And that's why I've always liked Brandon Ingram. I would do anything for Brandon Ingram to come play on the Chicago Bulls. Like, we could trade every single player on our team aside from Lonzo Ball, and I would be okay with that if we got Brandon Ingram. Like, I don't care. If we kept Ingram, DeRozan, and Lonzo Ball and Caruso, we could trade every other single player to New Orleans. I don't care. I like Brandon Ingram that much. Then you might be saying to yourself, aren't you just trying to rebuild like last year's New Orleans Pelicans? Yes, but without Zion. for sure. Josh Hart can stay too. I don't really have too much to say about him. Darius Miles. This card was really good when he came out, but it's been a very long time since that occurred, so I'd put him in like D tier. But he's still a Ruby, so that counts for something. Detlef Schrempf. Yeah, C tier. I mean, he's a good spot-up shooter. He plays okay defense. Like, C tier makes sense. Dumas, I think, is a lot better than people give him credit for. I really do. I haven't seen anyone hype this card up. I'd put him behind Jeremy Grant because Jeremy Grant's a little bit more on the meta side. But I think a lot of the reason for that is because the vault odds have been astronomically worse than they've ever been. And I swear, I firmly believe this. They have been worse this year than they've ever been in 2K. The vault, for sure. Pack odds as well, but just odds in general. Anthony Davis, he's B tier, for sure. He's not meta, he's not a movement guy, but he's also an AD that plays small forward shooting guard, so he deserves B tier, for sure. Ruby Kuminga. The big flaw with Kuminga is he can't shoot free throws, so that is kind of an issue. But I would still put him towards the top of D tier. Other Detlef, like over here, D tier somewhere. Purvis Short. Purvis Short was really good when he came out, but it's been a long time. He's essentially a Vince Carter clone. D. Devin George. I just don't like this card. He just came out, so he's not horrible, but like, I'd put him by Luke Walton. This card was so painful to do this challenge with. Dominique Wilkins. Oh, man. Outdated, so I'd put him by, like, Granger, Dale Ellis, Chris Mullin area. I love Matisse Thybulle, so he's going high in D tier. We need a new Matisse Thybulle. We really do. Pink Diamond Dominique, I think, is one of the better cards in D tier. The reason I'm putting him in D tier, though, is just because, spoiler alert, his Opal is going to go in C tier, and I don't think they're all that different, so I might put them right next to each other. I don't know. Elgin Baylor, he's good, C tier. He kind of goes in the Anthony Edwards, Cassie Russell area, where it's kind of like, you know, they're undersized for the small forward. Slightly undersized for the shooting guard, but they can hold it down, but they're all very good, you know? I'd probably rank it as such. Pink Diamond Elgin Baylor goes in the outdated area, but I think he's the best. Evan Turner. Evan Turner's very good. I would say that he's like right over here somewhere. His ability to play the point guard is huge as well. Granted, he's not the best at it. He still can do it, which is huge. Trey Murphy, dude. Trey Murphy's so good. I'm dead serious. Trey Murphy is fantastic. I'd throw him like right here in C tier. This card's great. Can he move? Not terribly well, but he can still hold it down. I just like Trey Murphy a lot. No trash tier cards thus far, though. I know they exist, but I haven't gotten to them yet. Franz Wagner. This card's actually pretty good. I'm putting the top of D tier. I would say he's like over here by like Dominique and KD. Furkan, dude. I like Furkan. I'm big on Furkan. Put him by like Dale Ellis. Yeah. Gervin, he's worse than Kelly Tripucka, but he's better than... No, he's worse than Corliss Williamson. He's better than Alex English and Jalen Rosso. Gerald Green. That's an interesting one. I would actually put him kind of towards the top of C tier. I think this card is really, really good, honestly. He plays good defense, good jump shot. Like, he dunks over everybody, which is fantastic. I'm big on Gerald Green, dude. You can put him lower if you want. I don't care. Make your own list. Doesn't matter. This Gerald Green I'd put in D tier. Gerald Wallace, he's probably the best card in D tier besides KD. Like, he's still very good. Tough. TJ Warren, yeah, TJ Warren's pretty bad, but he's better than Gervin objectively. Giannis, worst card in C tier. I mean, he's still a Giannis that can run at breakneck speeds and has Giannis player build at the gold, which is like very important. So I would say outside of, I mean, all the gold cards we got were good. I'm not a huge fan of Vit, but he's objectively probably here too. You know what I mean? Glenn Big Dog Robinson, yeah. B tier. Lower B tier, but B tier nonetheless, straight up. This Glenn Robinson is super outdated, so I'd throw him in the Carmelo, Danny Granger area. I'd probably put it like this: Mullen, Granger, Glenn Big Dog Robinson, Carmelo, Dale Ellis nominee. Glenn Robinson the second, D tier. Steven Jackson, he's super outdated, so he's like the best card in F tier. This Glenn Rice, he can play the 2 guard. He's just not the greatest card in the world, but D. Gordon back to Blue Hayward, hell yeah, dude, D tier. Grant Hill. Grant Hill's still very good, but C tier. His jump shot's a little bit slow, but he kind of does everything well. It's really hard to argue against this card. T-Mac. It hurts to do this to my boy T-Mac, it does. But they really did him dirty, dude, to be honest. Like, this card is not very good. He's still a T-Mac card, so he's good, but I literally would use Glenn Big Dog Robinson over him right now. Gus Gerard, this card was incredibly good. I mean, obviously, he came out the first day. Yeah, he was a day 1 card. That's nuts, dude. So he's definitely outdated, but I think he's closer to, like... Yeah, I think he's closer to, like, these guys down here than... Yeah, Gus Gerard was good. Xavier McDaniel, the X-Man. Yeah, he's pretty nice. I'd put him behind Bailey Howell over here. You could argue for Bailey Howell above him, but I don't know. Harrison Barnes, F. Poku, D. Vic Krejci, I actually don't like this card, and honestly, for my own personal ranking, I would probably put Vit in D tier. I do not like this card. His jump shot is absolutely atrocious in my opinion. He doesn't move very well. He's just a big point guard. But I'll put him low C tier because he's still an overpowered gold card. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And that alone puts you in C tier for how usable, per my own parameters, how usable it is, puts him there for sure. Hydration. Hito Turkoglu. Yeah, that's my boy. I love Hito so much, dude. I really do. Hito's still really good. I put him towards the top of C tier. This Hito, not so much. I'd put him over here by like deadlift area. Sean Elliott. I think Sean Elliott's a lot better than people give him credit for. For sure, C tier. We need a new Sean Elliott ASAP. Herbert Jones. I actually think Herbert Jones is A tier. I do. Typically, I don't buy into, you know, the overhype of either free cards or budget cards that a lot of creators get into. But I think Herbert Jones actually does live up to that. Like, you could easily run Herbert Jones against the best small forwards in the game, and it won't matter. He can get buckets offensively, and he can play defense. He plays excellently on both gens. He just fits every play style. Like, this card is stupid. It's really hard for me to put him here and move Larry Bird down, so I'm going to go ahead and keep both of them. This hurts. This hurts, but it needs to happen. This T-Mac's too outdated. It's D. Tis the season Vince Carter. D. Jamal Wilkes is pretty bad. Trash. Like, at this point, yeah. James Posey, dude. James Posey is not very good. I almost called him Tyler Posey, which is not his name. For sure, that's the Teen Wolf. Tis the season LeBron, I would put a little bit lower, like over here, behind Glenn Rice and Sean Elliott and stuff. No, I would put him closer to like Paul George Iguodala area, actually. That's where I would put him, yeah. I do like all the cards that I have ahead of him. Personally, I do. I prefer Brandon Ingram. I think Granger is better. Anthony Edwards, that one's kind of tough. Maybe I'll do one of these. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. But like Elgin Baylor, Gerald Green, yeah. Chris Mullin. I think Chris Mullin's B tier. I do just think that the guys in A tier bring a little bit more to your team. Like, I don't think Chris Mullin is as good as Vince Carter or Richard Jefferson, and for that reason, I'm going to put him in B tier. He's still the best card in B tier, though, in my opinion. Jarrett Culver, he's trash, but he's a little bit better than Jamal Wilkes. I was going to say Jamal Milks. I don't know why. Sometimes my brain just doesn't fire on all cylinders, I swear. When I'm doing these tier lists, I don't have a script or anything, so I just kind of freeball it. That's not the right term. So, you know, I do my best not to stumble across my words. Yeah, the reason I say that Jarrett Culver is better, is he actually better? I don't know. But the reason I say that is because he at least brings a tiny smidge of lower overall help to your squad. So if you're using him in like TT or anything else, he's going to be more beneficial than running Diamond Jamal Wilkes. Because you're going to play Diamond Jamal Wilkes, and then 2K is going to decide that they need to throw like Diamond Gerald Green at you for some reason. You know what I mean? Or like Corey Kispert or like Kenny Walker, just someone significantly better, because that's how 2K operates. Glenn Rice. B. Yeah, I think he's better than Glenn Robinson. I think this is one of the more slept on cards in the game. He's still very good. Oh, Mello the God. On next gen, he's like towards the top of C tier, borderline B tier, but I would throw him like right here. Yeah, that makes sense. Tatum. I think Tatum's really good, but he isn't very good defensively. I do think he's nice though. For like, what, 90K? I think he's worth that price for sure. This Jason Tatum's super outdated, so I would throw him like over here by like Purvis. This card was pretty bad at the time. This one's still good enough, I think, to be in like higher adjacent C tier. That card was a demon for a while. People used Tatum forever, dude. People still might use Tatum, I don't know. Jeff Green. I think Jeff Green is honestly one of the best cards in B tier. Like, I'm dead serious. This card is ridiculous, and he's 3,000 MT. Invincible Scottie Pippen. Okay, here's my hot take. Like, Richard Jefferson is better than Scottie Pippen, right? Richard Jefferson is free. Scottie Pippen is 1.5 million MT. So this isn't a hot take. It's more of a fact. But that means that 2K is going to drop a significantly better shooting guard in the next 2 weeks, because 2K never lets the best card in the game be a free card for long. They never do. This Jeff Green, I think, is still good enough to be like C tier. If I got Mikal Bridges in here, you know. Jerome Kersey, he's actually not half bad. Like, I would throw him like higher D tier. Jimmy Buckets. I think objectively speaking, he is better than T-Mac, Durant, etc. He's not great, but I think low C tier is appropriate. Taylor Horton Tucker, I don't like this card, so I'm going to put him in F tier. He's just like way worse Sean Marion. Troy Brown Jr. I would throw him in like D tier by like Jarvis Hayes and like Glenn Rice and Bruce Bowen. Glenn Robinson area. He's not the best. He's probably the worst out of those guys. Throw him behind Bernard King. Shane Battier. I actually think Battier is a very good 3-and-D option. I would throw him like here. He's really, really nice. I can't say... If you're a dribble god, you're obviously going to prefer Kazi, but I think like Shane Battier right here isn't crazy. Larry Cannon is probably the worst card in trash tier. Joe Smith, dude. Yeah, D. He's not very good. Joe Smith never gets love in 2K. It'd be nice to have them give Joe Smith, former number 1 overall pick Joe Smith, like a good card for once. This Jimmy Butler, higher up in D tier, just outdated. Justice Winslow I really like, so D tier. Well, if I got Jimmy up here, I gotta throw, yeah, no. John Havlicek. C tier, he can't move that well, but he was a very slept on card when he came out as well. Like, these are the outdated guys that still make it in the C tier down here. You know what I mean? Jimmy, Havlicek, Darius, DeMar DeRozan. Like, they're all, you know, solid. I would actually say DeAndre Hunter is better than these guys, though. Like, dead serious. Oh, Kuminga. Yeah, Kuminga's up there. Kuminga's B tier for sure. I think Albert King's slightly better just because he can play the 2 guard, and he's a very good 2 guard. But I'm not kidding. I would use Kuminga over Tatum. And Jeremy Grant. I would. Kuminga's very good. Jay Holla, Justin Holiday, D. Justice Winslow, I actually think he's like a top card in C tier. Like, I'm borderline wanting to put Justice Winslow in B tier. Kawhi's still A tier, I think. I just don't think he's quite S tier anymore. I don't. Yeah, you could play the 2 guard, but most people will use Maxwell, Pippen, or Richard Jefferson. Nobody really uses Kawhi like that anymore. So I would still put him in A tier, but this one's B tier though. Like this Kawhi is probably better than Dumas. Yeah, no, he's better than AD's tough. AD and Jeremy Grant are tough because they're different kind of players. So it just depends what you want in that one. If you were to want to put Kawhi like up here by Kuminga, I wouldn't like argue against that. Landry Fields, we need a new Landry. This is my boy, dude. He's just like super outdated. Wally Zerbiak, yeah, he's not really that great. Landry's better than you guys. Throw Landry up there. Keith Van Horn, dude. First off, I don't know why James Posey is so high up here. I'm going to throw him by Jerome Kersey. Keith Van Horn is solid. Like, once he got the jump shot update, like, he's way better than people give him credit for as well. So I'd put him towards the top of D tier. Kelly Oubre, I really liked this card when he came out, so D. Anthony Edwards, also D. Melo. On next gen, he's S tier. On current gen, he's probably B tier. So I'm going to give him a happy medium and put him in A tier. I'm going to put him up by Kawhi, though, just because of how good he is on next gen. Like, he's clearly the top shooting guard on next gen. No question. And he can play the small forward very well as well. So I would probably rank it as such. This is the most cards I think I've ever put in A tier. That should tell you how good this position is this year. Like, I'm pretty sure I average like 4 or 5 cards in A tier, and I legitimately have 9 in here. That's crazy. Kevin Durant, I think he's still S tier. He's probably... Yeah, it's really hard to rank these cards, but I think I would rank it like this in S tier. This KD, still good enough to be low B tier. Chris Money Middleton, D. He's all right. Pink Diamond Lamar. C tier. Yeah, he's better than Paul George. I'll say it. I don't care. LeBronathan. Where's the other LeBron at? I knew he was around here somewhere. Where did I put him? Yeah, he's just better than that card. Yeah, you can get the badges. This LeBron's still C tier as well, just lower C tier. He's good. He just can't really shoot that well, but he can kind of do everything else. I shouldn't say that. He can shoot just fine. He just can't get the shooting badges that people would deem meta. Mark Aguirre. Mark Aguirre was so good for his time, and nobody used him. He was like 10,000 MT and like a legitimate top 5 like small forward for a little bit. Michael Porter Jr., I think he's like low B tier. Like, I actually really like this card. Yeah, I would say that. Dominique Wilkins. Yeah, C tier. He's outdated. He's not incredibly good, but he's usable. Mikal Bridges. He's a perfect 3-and-D small forward. He is. Is he the greatest? No, but he's a perfect 3-and-D small forward. Like, objectively, I think Kuminga brings a little bit more to the table. But Mikal Bridges is very, very good. I'm actually going to rank him higher. I just really like this card. Mike Dunleavy, dude. Yeah. No, Dunleavy's actually good. Like, not even joking, Dunleavy is very good. He's C tier, but he's good. Mike Miller, D. Otto Porter's pretty bad, but he's not like F tier. Paul George, goddamn, there's so many in A tier, dude. Okay. I mean, Paul George is probably up there. I would go Karolinko, Kawhi, Paul George, I think, is how I would rank that. Carmelo, LeBron, Denny, Vince, Lamar, Larry Bird, Herbert Jones. Vince doesn't get enough respect, though, and I think he might even be up here. I just don't know. This Paul George is the best card in D tier. This Paul Pierce, and next gen, he's like the top card in D tier for sure. On current gen, obviously, he's not very good. So I would throw him somewhere over. Let's throw him by like Wiggins and Jimmy Butler and Purvis Short, Tatum, and yeah. This Paul Pierce would go around the same. This Paul Pierce, due to how good he is on next gen, he's very competent on next gen. I would throw him by like Kispert, D. Peja, F. He's not great. This Peja isn't great either. I would throw him by like D tier. I might put him low C tier because he's usable enough. Yeah, I would. I can't say he's like that much worse than Dominique or Jimmy Butler or Havlicek, so I'd throw him in like C tier. Cam Reddish, not high, but I still think he's B tier material for sure. This Richard Jefferson is not great, but he's not terrible either. This Richard Jefferson, I would say the same thing. He's a little bit more outdated and doesn't bring you the lower overall stuff, but Dunktober, Cam Reddish, yeah, I mean, he's a decent Sapphire.
RJ Barrett, respect to RJ Barrett. Put him by Furkan. No, where's Landry at? Where's Landry Fields? I don't remember where I put him. He's around here though. I'll find him. Don't worry. Oh, Landry. What's a Landry call sound like? Like, how do I do a Landry? How do I call a random Landry in the wild? Maybe I just start offering cocaine. That sounds like a Landry activity. RJ Barrett. Yep, right by Cam Reddish. Very good still. I mean, I would probably rank him higher, but I don't even use him in my lineup anymore. So, like, you know what I mean? And I don't have the greatest team in the world. Robert Covington, there's going to be someone who argues he's A tier. I personally don't believe that to be the case, so I would put him, like, here. He's a very good 3-and-D small forward shooting guard. He's actually very, very solid at the shooting guard. I put him by, like, Kawhi, actually. Robert Reed, dude. Yeah, with the slickest Jerry curl in all the land. A truly majestic piece of hair, honestly. He has the best hair in my team. Rick Smith's mullet is really close, I would say, along with Chris Mullin flat top, but Robert Reed Jerry curl is tip top, you know what I mean? Rolando, another card that kind of got slept on. He was very good. I hope we get another one because my All Mavericks team really needs some assistance. Kazi Russell. I'd put him by, like, Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett area. Well, no, Dumas. He's better. Yeah, he's a really good shooting guard, especially for budget players. Yeah, right there. That's good. I like that. Settle in. Sadiq Bey, very, very good amethyst. Scottie Pippen. It's crazy that this Scottie Pippen is still this high on B tier because he came out so long ago, but this card is ridiculous. Like, he still runs my bench unit, and I'm not ashamed to say that. This Scottie, kind of bad at this point, F. This Scottie, I would say, is like the second best card in D tier. This one, because he can get the badge upgrades, is probably like Havlicek, Peja, Jimmy Butler area. I'm going to put Dominique down below these guys. I just think he's not very good. Yeah. Let's go Jimmy first, Scottie, yeah, then Havlicek, then Peja. That's good. Sean Marion. This is going to be a contentious one. Where do you think Sean Marion's going to rank? It's probably not where you think. Yeah, he's B tier. He's a horrible jump shot, but everything else is ridiculous. Like, everything else is fantastic. This card is so good. In the right hands, he's legitimately a top small forward. This Sean Marion, yeah. Where's sometimes I just lose some of the cards that I've been ranking. Here it is. Jason Tatum, Paul Pierce area. He's like the best out of these guys besides Wiggins. Steven Jackson. He's like a top D tier option, I would say. Terrence Mann's really good too. I would put him up towards the top of D tier. Terrence Davis, like, he's not great, but he's okay. Terry Dissinger. I don't think Terry Dissinger is great, but I think he still warrants being up here. Like, I still think he's that good where he warrants to be higher on B tier. I do. I actually truly firmly believe that. I personally actually think he's the second best card in B tier. You may not agree with that sentiment, but I still think Terry can get buckets. He's still very good. Mullen is objectively a little bit better, but Terry deserves to be here as well. This Terry, he's like the top of C tier. Still usable to this day. Insert the "to this day" sound clip. Tobias Harris there. Kukoc, I think, is like lower C tier, still usable. Trevor Ariza I really like, but he's like here in D tier. Dunktober, Vince Carter. Yeah, D. Well, where's Purvis Short at? Where did I put him? Because he's literally Purvis Short. So, like, let me go find Purvis. There he is. Yeah, right there. What do you guys think of the list? Please, jump in the comments below. As I said at the beginning of this video, if I can get 150 likes on this video, I will do one of two things. Your choice. Either I will make a worst drivers tier list based solely on cars that I've been talking about for a while. So, like, for instance, I would rank various cars like a 2010 Chevy Blazer, a 2010 GMC Envoy, a 2017 Altima, a 2010 to 2012 Chevy Malibu, based solely on how likely it is that the person driving that car is a terrible driver, a reckless driver, or actually a legitimate danger on the road. Or B, I went to a giant flea market kind of thing that, happens in my area pretty often. And I got a bunch of cards, like a bunch of card packs for really cheap prices. Like we got a Justin Bieber pack. Oh yeah. Operation Desert Storm. Yes, the military conflict. Official trading cards. Oh, I really hope I get the holographic George H.W. Bush, man. 1990 NFL football cards. I don't even know what brand this is, but you can win a trip to Super Bowl 25 with Franco Harris. It's pretty cool. These are from 19. That's crazy. All right. Then I got some NBA hoops trading cards. I actually don't know what year these are from. 1989. I don't know who could possibly be in here, so that's pretty cool. We got some rock cards, which are just, like rock stars or something. Interesting, right? And then we got American Idol Season 4 official trading cards, in addition to some other goodies as well. So, we're coming up. As always, I've already done the greeting. I've already done the outro. I'm going to do another outro. You get 2 on this channel. Peace.